Right, Namaskar, and a very warm welcome to everyone joined in today on our 48th Know Your Species, 48th Know Your Species, Know Your Zoo talk. This talk is being organized by the Central Zoo Authority, New Delhi, as part of the ongoing Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The Mahotsav is a 75-week-long celebration to commemorate 75 years of India's independence, which falls on the 15th of August 2022. The Central Zoo Authority is taking this celebration forward through a massive outreach campaign entitled Conservation to Coexistence, The People Get It. Under the helm of this campaign, we will be showcasing 75 conservation priority species and 75 zoos, highlighting one species and one zoo each week. We are currently in week 48 of the celebration with the Sangai as the species in focus and the Manipur Zoological Garden as the zoo in focus. So joined in today to speak to us on the species is Dr. Chongpi Tuvoy. Dr. Chongpi holds a doctorate degree in wildlife science from Saurashtra University and a postgraduate degree in botany from the University of Delhi. She had joined the Wildlife Institute of India in 2008 to work on the conservation of the endangered Sangai deer and she has been involved in the designing, coordination, and execution of ecological surveys and pollution studies for over a decade now in the institute. Her work has been published in peer-reviewed national and international journals. Presently, she is working as the project scientist in the project titled Conservation Action Plan for the Manipur Brow-Antlered Deer, or the Sangai, an integrated approach under the Endangered Species Recovery Program of the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. She will speak to us today more on the species in focus. So over to you, Dr. Chongpi.
Thank you so much, Arundhati. I will start my talk immediately. Today we will be talking about the Manipur's brow-antlered deer, commonly known as the dancing deer of Manipur also, because of its unique habitat and because of the unique way it moves in its habitat. It is famously also known as the dancing deer of Manipur. And not only that, it is also considered to be the pride of Manipur because as I will be showing in my subsequent slides why it is considered to be the pride of Manipur the Sangai or the Manipur's brow-antlered deer belongs to a group of deer known as the ELD'S deer. So there are three subspecies of ELD'S deer. The Rucervus eldi, that is the Sangai, Rucervus eldi thaming, that is found in Myanmar, Thailand, and Cambodia, and Rucervus eldi siamensis found in some portions of Cambodia and southern China. So these are the three subspecies. So among all these three subspecies, the Thaming subspecies as well as the siamensis subspecies are found in more than one location. That is, there are the population wherever they are, although they are small, we have them in different pockets in different parts of the Southeast Asian countries. It is only the Sangai, that is the Rucervus eldi. This subspecies is found only in one location, in one place in Manipur. So among all these three subspecies, the Sangai deer is the most threatened. So Manipur's brow-antlered deer or the Sangai deer was first discovered by Lieutenant Percy Eld in Manipur Valley in 1839, and it was McClelland who named it as Eld's deer in 1842 in honor of the person who discovered it, that is Lieutenant Percy Eld. Now the Sangai is confined as a single, isolated and small population in Keibul Lamjao National Park, which is located in the southernmost part of the Loktak Lake. So the Sangai is listed as endangered in the IUCN Red List as well as Schedule 1 species in the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So in Manipuri society, in Manipur, in our culture, the Sangai plays a very significant role. So you can see the shape of this boat here. So this is the Hiyang Hirel. Traditionally, in olden times, the kings, they used this boat, and at the head of the boat, they use these antlers of Sangai. The head of Sangai is placed there. So that is from
Dr.
where
Chongpi,
yes.
sorry to interrupt. Your presentation is not yet being shared.
It is not shared.
Yes.
One more second.
No problem.
Is it sharing now?
Yes, it's sharing now. It's loading.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, now it's on the first slide. I mean, your cover slide.
Okay, okay.
I think there is
Okay.
a
Yeah.
your
So
bandwidth is low. I think your bandwidth is low. I'd suggest if you could keep your video off, I think that would help.
okay, okay.
No?
Okay.
The screen is blank right now. Okay, fine. We've got to the distribution. Please go ahead. Sorry.
So so if I'm moving my slide now, is it okay? Is it visible?
It's blank right now.
I don't know what is the problem. Is it okay now?
It's not yet showing, Dr. Chongpi. I can't see anything. You've not yet shared the screen.
Okay, so is it now?
Yes, there's something coming up. I think it's loading.
Yeah. Is it still loading?
Yes.
So there is some problem with my network.
Uh, have you emailed it to me, the presentation? I can share
Yes.
it. I can share it with you. I haven't received it yet. Okay. So what we can do is till I receive your presentation for the talk, we'll just move on to the zoo talk quickly, if that's all
Yes,
right.
yes. I think that would
Yeah?
be better. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'll move
Okay.
on. So Dr. Singh, are you there? Fine. So sir, we'll proceed with your talk right now till yes, I heard you. So till we get the presentation on Sangai. So we'll move on to the Know Your Zoo section for today's talk. So we have with us Dr. L. Sarat Chandra Singh, who is the veterinary officer of the Manipur Zoological Garden. So Dr. Singh is a veterinarian by training and began his practice with the Manipur Forest Department over 3 decades ago. He has worked towards the welfare and management of wild animals both in the zoo and protected areas through his career, and has been part of numerous trainings that have been organized by the Forest Department and the Central Zoo Authority together. So he will speak to us more on the zoo. So I will share your presentation for you. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. So please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll introduce myself. I'm going to present the Manipur Zoological Garden in Nepal. Ma'am, I give a brief introduction regarding Manipur Zoological Garden. It was established in 2nd October 1976. It covers an area of around 8.17 hectare, which is about 8 kilometers from Imphal city. Manipur do house as many as rare and endangered species, which are endemic to the state, many of which are included in Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 Wildlife Protection Act 1972 And Manipur is categorized as a medium zoo by Central Zoo Authority. Though it's a small area, we know it is very small area, but the species which we are having and the total number of animals we are housing in the zoo is in mammals we are about 8 to 9 species, and the total number is about 100 animals. Next, please. And some of the activities that we are conservation of wildlife, Sangai and the Nongin Breeding Center and Langol Hills, and it is this conservation for this Sangai, we call it captive breeding center. It is around 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer from the zoo. So there we are giving this Nongin as well as Sangai, but we are mainly for Sangai. And main activities, education to the public on wildlife, an awareness program for students, and capacity building of the field staff, including those of in the territorial divisions. And we have rescue and rehabilitation activities, and the animal which we used to rescue will be rehabilitated and then again send it to the wild back again. Next, please, ma'am. Next is a small, small in area, but recognized as a medium zoo by the Central Zoo Authority. We have an administration, one director, forest range officer 2, one deputy ranger, forest guard 7, cleaner and sweepers 5, and in administration, one head clerk, two clerk, 2 peon, and 1 gatekeeper. And unfortunately, I am the only one veterinary officer, and with the animal attendant. Sorry to say that we don't have any subordinate staff so far. Next, please. Regarding the infrastructure in the zoo, the CZA has constructed one veterinary hospital in 2018, and we have this veterinary hospital, but unluckily we have not been fully equipped. We have a food store, feed distribution center, visitors rest shed, visitors drinking water point, all or conducting programs, staff quarters, and we have only one Bolero camper and one electrical vehicle. So in this regard, we are really very poor to say. Next, please. So in this, we are showing the annual inventory report of 2020-21. Here at present, I will tell you about the at present. These are almost same, but we have about total number of species in our zoo is around 383, including mammals, birds, reptiles, and primate, and all include. And total number of species is around 45 species we are housing in our zoo. And total number of endangered species is around 14 species we have, and total number of animal is around 120 animals in endangered as an endangered species. Next, please. Next, please, ma'am. Our zoo has been closed due to COVID-19 since 2000 all over India. So now still we are closing our zoo for the visitors till today, and approximately the number of visitors and the revenue is also poor. In year 2019 and 20, we received around 10 lakhs, around 55,025 rupees, and total number of visitors is around 12 1,28,467. So in that we have number of adults visitors, number of child visitors, number of student visitors, and the number of student in tour, and total number of visitors, and total revenue, etc. We have shown it in this column. So apart from that, I will just to add some of the things that we are also having a captive breeding center in Langol, as I have already mentioned in previously. And there we are in the captive breeding center, we are keeping Sangai, the brow-antlered deer, and the Nongin. So at present, we have around 17 numbers of animals in zoo as well as in the captive breeding center. In the captive breeding center at present, we are having nine numbers of animals, that the ratio is around 5:3. And in the zoo, the animal was brought to zoo with the help of the Wildlife Institute of India in the year 2019. 2 pair of animals were brought to zoo, and now it is residing, and increased the number up to 8 from 2019 to till now. So in this regard, in 2019, it has been given birth 1. In 2020, it was given 2, and in 2021, another 1 pound was brought. So altogether in the zoo now we are having 8 numbers of animals. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing a brief overview of the Manipur Zoological Garden. Dr. Chongpi, can you try sharing? I've not yet received your presentation.
I've mailed you, but I will try again. Okay, so I'm in a better network area now. I've changed my location, so I will try. I will try again. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for earlier.
No problem. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So let me just share. Okay, is it visible, my slide now?
It's loading.
Hello?
Yes, it's loading.
Okay. I've mailed you also, actually.
I haven't got it yet. I get it, and
actually the file is very big. It's more than 60 MB file. So
okay. You've done it on Gmail? Or
yeah,
on the
I've
other
done
one?
it in Gmail. Gmail.
Okay.
The one where the one we're mailing me.
Oh, okay, fine. So I think I've not yet received it. Anyhow, your presentation is visible right now, so I think you can go ahead. Your
Okay, it's
first
visible.
slide. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, and thank you for your patience. So today we will be talking about the Manipur's brow-antlered deer, commonly known as the dancing deer of Manipur. So this Manipur's brow-antlered deer belongs to a group of deer known as the ELD'S deer. So in the ELD'S deer has three subspecies: the Reservus eldi, that is the Sangai deer; Reservus eldi thamin, that is the Thamin deer; and Reservus eldi simensis. So among these three subspecies, the two subspecies, that is the Thamin subspecies and the simensis subspecies, they exist in more than one locations. That is, they are found in maybe in very small populations, but they are found in pockets in different parts of the Southeast Asian countries like Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, and southern China. Except for Sangai, that is the Reservus eldi, it is found only in a single location in Manipur. So among these three subspecies, the Sangai subspecies is the most endangered. So the Manipur's brow-antlered deer was, or the ELD'S deer, was first described in Manipur Valley in 1839 by Lieutenant Percy L, and it was named as ELD'S deer by McClellan in 1842 in honor of its discoverer, Lieutenant Percy L. So right now, the Sangai exists as a single, isolated, and small population in Keibul Lamjao National Park, which is located in the southernmost part of the Loktak Lake in Manipur. The species is listed as endangered in the IUCN Red List and as Schedule 1 species in the Indian Wildlife Protection Act. The Sangai, it plays a very important role in the socio-economic and cultural life of the people of Manipur. So we have many businesses in the name of Sangai, like is the Sangai Hotel, the Sangai Furniture House, and as part of our culture also, Sangai has played a significant role, as is visible from these photographs depicting the boat of the ancient kings, in which the head of the Sangai is put at the head of the boat. And even the logos in Manipur, like the Manipur Tourism, as well as we have the Sangai Express, and even the national game mascot was the Sangai. So in this way, Sangai plays a very significant role in the socio-cultural and economic life of the people of Manipur. And the Sangai habitat, it is very unique. So Loktak Lake is the largest, second largest freshwater lake in northeastern India, with an area of 287 square kilometer. And the southernmost part of the Loktak Lake is the Lamjao National Park. So the Sangai was historically distributed in this entire Manipur Valley, but because of human increase in population and habitat degradation, they have become localized in this Keibul Lamjao area. So this is a different view of the Keibul Lamjao National Park. So we can see all these grasses that we are seeing is actually on top of the water. They are all floating. So the total area of the national park is 40 square kilometer area, and this floating grassland that we are seeing here in the photograph is 26 square kilometer area, which constitutes the main habitat for Sangai. So the rest of the area constitutes open water bodies and small hillocks inside the national park. One of the hillock is also visible here in this grassland area. So these small huts are on the outskirts of the national park. So these are called fum huts. So this is a traditional way of fishing. So in one circle belongs to one individual, and this is where they do rearing of their fishes. And so in this hut they stay. So through these fum huts also, because of increasing population, more and more fum huts are coming up. So pollution is increasing. One of the factors for increasing in pollution is also because of these fum huts. And we can see these people going inside for extraction also. So coming in the upcoming slides, I will explain to you. So first, let's see what these fumdis are, these floating meadows are. So the characteristic feature of the Keibul Lamjao National Park and the Loktak Lake is this floating vegetation, which is locally known as fumdis, these floating meadows. So it is made up of a heterogeneous mixture of dead and decaying matter. So we can see that on top of these floating meadows, we have more than 150 species of grasses growing. So we have 1/3 below water and the rest on top of the water. So in its natural state, during earlier times before the construction of the barrage downstream to the Manipur River, these fumdis, they used to settle down like this at the lake bottom when during lean season. So when rainfall comes again, when water level rises again, then these fumdi, they used to emerge again. So this was the natural mechanism. So it used to rise up and it used to settle down again. So this is how the integrity of the fumdis used to be managed. But since the construction of the Ithai barrage, these fumdis are now in a continuous state of floating, because now there is water is not going out. So the fumdis in most places are disintegrating. So we have up to 75 centimeter thickness now. And Sangai requires meadow thickness of more than 1 meter. So the most ideal habitat for Sangai will be a fumdi thickness of more than 1 meter. But we have very few areas inside the national park which has fumdi thickness of more than 1 meter. So what are the other factors affecting the population? The major issue for Sangai is that it is a single, isolated and very small population. And another factor is that because of this, there is increased probability of diseases and mortalities, because they are surrounded on all sides by human habitation. So another factor is deteriorating habitat conditions. So as I mentioned earlier, the thickness of the fumdi is also decreasing, and pollution is also increasing. So water quality is also degrading, and because of human extraction and because of all these habitat changes, plant community is also changing. And we also have incidences of fire. So this is a map showing the incidences of fire happening in Keibul Lamjao National Park over the years. The last time it was measured was in 2017, and in that year more than 50% of the area of the national park was burned. And the park is connected with its surrounding areas, because outside the park immediately there are human habitation. So even if there is flood, there is fire, if Sangai wants to move out also, Sangai has no place to move out. Biomass demand. So historically, the Loktak Lake is considered to be the lifeline of Manipur. So and Keibul Lamjao National Park being a part of the Loktak Lake used to be the lifeline of the people in the surrounding area. So we have people who are still dependent on the park resources for their sustenance as well as their livelihood. And we also have incidences of poaching and mortalities. Thankfully, I think the last poaching case reported not for Sangai but for the other associated species was in 2017, and since then no poaching cases has been reported. So with this background, the Wildlife Institute of India and the Manipur Forest Department are implementing a project called Conservation Action Plan for Manipur's brow-antlered deer, or Sangai. And under this, the program aims to secure the existing population in Keibul Lamjao National Park, create a second population at a select site, because as I mentioned earlier, the Sangai is found only in a single location. So we need to create a second population at the earliest, because if the habitat is also vulnerable, and if we don't have a second population, the chances of Sangai becoming extinct is very high. And another important factor is to involve the local communities around the national park in the conservation process. So to secure the existing population, habitat monitoring activities are being carried out, like from level across all season, any change in the plant community structure, what is the habitat use of Sangai through pallet survey. So, and we also do like entry point monitoring. So places where the local people are entering for extraction, we monitor those areas to see what they are extracting, in what season they are extracting, is it for sustenance, and for what purpose it is being extracted. And species monitoring also. So we sit on machans and we do species monitoring also, and we also do their habitat use pattern study. And recently we have started a drone survey because the habitat is such that there are some areas that we ourselves are not able to go because the Fumdi is so thin that we cannot access those areas. So we started drone survey since 2018, 20. So we have been doing drone survey to do habitat study, as well as we are trying to see whether we can do the individual monitoring also. And since the park is surrounded on all sides by human habitations, we need to do regular disease monitoring of the cattle to see if there is any chances of diseases transmitting from the wild to the cattle and from the cattle to the wild. So we do household disease monitoring, as well as we do animal health camps in specific locations in the surrounding villages. And we are also preparing a health management plan for Keibul Lamjao National Park. And in addition to that, we also do rescue and rehabilitation of animals. Because of active participation of local NGOs and local clubs, people are becoming more aware about the need for conservation. So we get rescued birds, we get rescued deers, as well as rescued different types of species, turtles also we get. So in collaboration with the forest department, we do rescue and rehabilitation of those animals. As mentioned by the zoo doctor, Dr. Sarat, in 2019, 4 individuals of Sangai were translocated from Sangai Breeding Center at Langol to Manipur Zoological Garden, 2 males and 2 female. And in addition to that, we also do capacity building of frontline staffs in habitat monitoring and species monitoring, and information dissemination is also done through all these awareness programs, through all of our activities. So the most important thing, to secure the existing population, we have prepared an integrated management plan with these same goals, and we have submitted these to the forest department. So as part of our efforts for establishing the second home, we have given presentation at the State Board for Wildlife meeting in Manipur twice in 2018 as well as 2019. And the Pumlen Part and Thongamundum Reserve Forest has been identified to be a site for a second home, and dialogue with the local community, preparation of action plan, and all these things is under process. And community participation, we give them different livelihood training opportunities, skill development trainings, and in addition, we also carry out awareness program in schools through different conducting competitions and through observation of important days like World Environment Day, World Wetland Day, like that. So, and we are also collaborating with the Manipur State Rural Livelihood Mission to establish livelihood centers in the national park area. So we have conducted a series of institution building programs. Now we are trying to take up the livelihood section of the training. Education awareness, this is designed specially for school children. So we, around the national park, we have different schools. So we go to different schools and we conduct different awareness programs, different competitions. So this is something that we do on important days also, and sometimes we do on as part of outreach program also. At the state level, we are doing advocacy also involving different stakeholders like legislators, bureaucrats, media, and representatives of local communities. So at the state level also, we are doing a series of advocacy programs for long-term conservation of Sangai. So as to create to build a larger constituency of support for Sangai conservation, all of our activities, we print them through print and electronic media, so that we can reach a bigger audience, not only to the people living around the national park, but to all the people living in Manipur, that yes, our Sangai is endangered, and we all need to take some steps to protect it. So these are some of the information dissemination materials that we have prepared, and we're distributing in schools and in colleges. About the captive status of Sangai, the total captive population of Sangai in India is assessed with an eye to distributing animals in such a way so as to promote maximum growth of the population. So right now Sangai is found in 14 zoos across India, and all the animals are now in the collections of various zoos have come from two lineages, that is a pair each from Kolkata Zoo and Delhi Zoo. And the captive breeding center at Langold, Manipur was initiated in 1978. The center has stock starting from founders from Delhi Zoo and one wild male from Keibul Lamjao National Park. But the stocks are highly inbred, and there were 14 individuals. Right now, I think there are only 9 individuals. Four individuals were translocated to Manipur Zoological Garden, and they are successfully breeding in the Manipur Zoological Garden, because right now from 4 individuals we now have 8 individuals. So this is all about Sangai. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you so much, Dr. Champi, for giving an overview of the activities that have been done for the conservation of Sangai under the helm of, the Grandpa. We will now move on to question and answers for the session. So, Dr. Champi will take questions for the species, know your species thing first. So, the first question.
Yes.
The first question for you is that the Sangai are protected as habitat specialists, and the information, talks about further diminishing of the floating biomass, which is the fundi. What steps are like? What are the on-ground steps that are being taken for the preservation of this habitat?
The habitat degradation has a lot of factors. It is not only one factor that can be controlled immediately. So one of the main issue is that the floating meadows, they start breaking away and they start floating away. So what forest department does is that they use bamboo poles and to try to protect the fundis from floating away. And another is the Loktak Development Authority has started removing the fum huts to reduce pollution. So these are the steps that has been taken. But apart from that, for long-term protection, second population is the need of the hour. So we are also pushing towards that.
All right. And the next question for you is that how effective have the community participation been in the conservation of the species?
Earlier when we initially started communicating with the local community, it was very difficult because for them livelihood is very important. So but after collaborating with the Manipur State Livelihood Mission and showing them how they can be independent by through formation of SHGs, and then through interloaning and through financial backing from the banks, and then through different skill development, livelihood training, and even marketing is going to be assessed by will be helped by the Manipur State Rural Livelihood Mission. So the people have become more approachable, I should say. They're more positive. And even the people, we have groups of women group who's are doing solely vegetable collection for their survival. So they don't have time during the day to do meetings with us, so we go to them at night to do meetings with them and to encourage them and to show them what could be the positive outcome of all these skill development trainings and all this institution building training that we're giving them. Because in the long term, the natural resource is not going to be there always. So in the long term, all those things we're explaining to them, and even them themselves, from their experience, they know how much they used to extract, how much they are extracting now, how it has reduced and everything. So they have become more and more positive, I should say. So these outreach programs and these community involvement programs are becoming, I should say, assisting in the conservation process.
Right. And the next question for you, Dr. Champi, is that the population of the species in zoo seems to be doing well. How, in your opinion, how do you think zoos housing the species and a sizable number can support the conservation long term?
We did genetic analysis of some of the zoos like Guwahati Zoo, Imphal Zoo, and all. So if given a choice for conservation breeding, we would definitely want to take it from the wild. But yes, if we don't have a choice and we cannot get from the wild, then through these species housed in the zoos, then that will have to be our option. So but right now our first option, our first priority is we're trying to get from the wild for the conservation breeding program.
All right, Dr. Changpi, those were the questions for you. So we move on to questions for the Know Your Zoo part. So Dr. Singh,
Thank you so much.
yeah, Dr. Singh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes. So the first question for you is that could you like what are some of the awareness programs that you do, like conservation awareness programs that you are conducting for visitors that come to the zoo?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you elaborate a little on it?
And we used to give to the students,
Hmm.
the visitors. Actually, we are having two seasons. In the summer season, actually, they used to come a large number of students. During that period, in the we used to give them awareness to them about the conservation of the Sangai and all. Not only Sangai, but also other species of animals. And there are some research fellows used to come uh, uh, from the Manipur University also regarding this study of the Sangai. That's all, man.
Okay, sir. And sir, the next question for you is that are there any specialized welfare practices or management practices that are taken up by the zoo for the Conservation Breeding Center and for the species in focus for this week in particular?
Ma'am, till now that much is not happened. Only we are having only two enclosure, and we are lack of facilities also. So that is the one problem. We need to construct them a race shed, a night shelter, and sometimes in the captive breeding center, some problems also create the all age animals, and we it should be fully equipped so that for the treatment, and then when the animals are in a bad condition, really it is very, because they are shy animal, we cannot capture with the net and all. We cannot give them harassment because they will die themselves because of the excitement. That is one of the most important thing we should keep in our mind while handling the Sangai species. And one more thing is that when it turns around 11 to 12 years, one problem we face is arthritis. That is very that doesn't happen till now in the zoo, but in the breeding center, when the animal become little older, around say 12 to 14 years old, then it in the forelimb, in the knee joint, there's some swellings, and during that period we cannot capture the animal, and we are not able to treat the animals also because of lack of equipments and all. That's the problem we face it, ma'am.
All right, sir. And the last question for you is, I think, what are any future development plans for the zoo? Is there anything planned for the future?
Yes, we have some plans. We have already constructed one enclosure for Sangai, and now the number is increasing. We have already proposed to the higher authority to construct another enclosure beside that, so that when the population is increased, we can separate them. And ma'am, one thing special for Sangai is because uh, they have a specific season for mating, because unlike other deer group, the Sangai, they have a specific breeding season that is from February to April. So during this period, uh, dominant males, because we are keeping say 10 or 9 animals. Among them, the animal which become around 6 to 7 years, they will grow up, and their then antlers are so sharp that when the root time comes, they won't see whether it is a fowl, whether it is a female, whether it is a male. They will try to stuck. Once they stuck means, ma'am, really it is, we cannot save it. I think it maybe happened to other Jews also during this period. But in my as far as my experience for the last 22, 23 years, only the animal used to die because of this. We are not facing any other diseases. We are not finding any FMD, BQ, or any ICS like that. But in casualty happens only during this. So we need to elaborate, or I should say, we should have some specific animal in some specific enclosures so that we can breed them well, and we can separate them, and then we can grow them. Then the population or the number will be increased, ma'am.
All right, sir. So I think those were the questions for you. And with this, we come to the end for our 48th Know Your Species, Know Your Zoo talk. So on behalf of the Central Zoo Authority, I would like to thank both Dr. Chompi and to Dr. Singh for taking time out from their schedules and joining us for this talk. I would also like to thank the audience for being with us through the talk and being patient through the bit of technical glitch that we did face. So thank you so much for that. And do tune in for our next week talk on Wednesday. That is be on from 4 to 5 p.m. on our week 49 species and zoo, which is the Great Hornbill and the Mini Zoo Rowing. So do tune in for that talk as well. And Manipur Zoological Garden will be continuing the outreach activities till the end of this week. So if you're there, you please do participate in what you can. So thank you so much and namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.